Well, happy Saturday. We made it to the weekend. Um, okay, folks. First of all, sorry if I sound really worn out because I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. I've been up decorating, um, and I was up till like 4 a.m. Then I got up at 7, and I've been back at it since then. And I'm just too tired to concentrate on readings this morning, so I'm not going to do a tarot pool. But I want to show you when I say decorating is I need to explain. And if you've been watching the channel, sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I collect nutcrackers. I have since I was 16. That's when I got my first one. And every year I've added to that collection. And now I have probably about 150 or so. I have no idea exact count at the moment. I just know that they fill up like every little corner of the living room that's not already taken. But I have all sorts. Most of them are like toy soldiers, the standard Nutcracker look. But then I have a lot of specialty ones, like this guy. He's a wizard, which I thought was pretty cool. And I have them in all sizes. Um, and themes. I have even have like a leprechaun one for St. Patrick's Day. Well, he ain't gonna stay to the side, but if I there. And something I do when I get them every year is I write down on the bottom the year that I got it. And that way, down the line, I won't forget when I got it and how old they are. And just a little reminder, mostly for myself. A couple of times I've gotten accidentally the same one. Not very often, but I'm getting so many now that I'm forgetful of what I already have. Until it comes down to these specialty ones. The average tin soldier, I have a hard time remembering. It takes something different for me to really know I don't have that one. But I've got them in all sizes. I've got little tiny ones that would fit on a tree ornament like to about 3 feet tall, 2.5, 3 feet tall, something like that. Um, I've got wind up ones. I guess they're like a music box type thing. But anyway, the tree's out. I'm starting to decorate. And this year, I want to put my Christmas tree ornament nutcrackers on it. I've never done that before. I've just set those around and never actually put them on the tree. Well, I think I had a small one that I put them on at one time or two, but I've never actually put them on the big tree. And this year I'm going to do it. I want to have like an old fashioned, I don't know, old fashioned type tree, really rustic looking and stuff. I didn't want to let this bypass, but I had mentioned it a while back when we had our lunar eclipse. And today was the day of the solar eclipse. I'm sorry you've already missed it. And it wasn't, you couldn't see it anywhere. Well, I think maybe northern North America, up in that area, but it really wasn't, you didn't get the full view of it unless you were in Antarctica. So, as you can imagine, probably very few people got to see that. But I found this piece. It was written by Teresa Massoni, and I thought you all might want to hear because it gives some of the zodiac for 4 signs, and I'll get to them in a minute. Anyway, the title of this is, well, I kind of paraphrased it. December 2021 solar eclipse brings major new chapters for these 4 zodiac signs. Ooh. Welcome to the home stretch of 2021, kicked off by a very exciting solar eclipse and the new moon on December 4th. If the very lovely and not at all maddening November 2021 lunar eclipse and full moon ruined your life, the December 2021 solar eclipse, while a bit chaotic, is unlikely to wreak as much havoc. The solar eclipse took place at 7:33 a.m. UTC, which was unfortunately 2:33 a.m. Eastern Time in the US, meaning the solar eclipse was mostly only visible in Antarctica. But don't be too sad about it because the full eclipse only lasted 2 minutes, so if you blinked, you missed it practically. But despite us not being able to see it, the December 2021 solar eclipse and new moon are packed with emotional meaning for each zodiac sign to guide you toward closing out 2021 strongly and starting 2022 with a fresh perspective. While every zodiac sign will feel the eclipses and new moon effects, 4 zodiac signs will most likely feel them the most. The December 4th solar eclipse and new moon, the last eclipse of 2021, by the way, will occur in the fiery Sagittarius, culminating in a total eclipse cycle began Gemini and Sagittarius in 2020. Generally, Sagittarius is associated with optimistic, adventurous, fun-loving vibes, the overwhelming desire to forge ahead, learn, travel, explore, and hunt for meaning without boundaries. That said, you must be careful not to move blindly, as Sagittarius sometimes has a tendency to do. After another tumultuous year in which you were forced to examine your values under a microscope and marry your lofty ideals with the weight of reality, the solar eclipse and the new moon offer the opportunity to reflect on everything you've learned and settle on what really matters to you, so much so that you want to run toward it full throttle. So much so that you will want to run toward it full throttle come 2022. This eclipse cycle has tested your spiritual, your mental, emotional, and spiritual agility, and now it's up to you to use the energetic spirit of Sagittarius to push you toward an inner breakthrough. But before you go balls to the walls with new projects or intentions on December 4th, however, it's important to grasp the emotional meaning of the solar eclipse and new moon, especially if you're one of the 4 zodiac signs, feeling the weight of the solar eclipse and new moon a little more than the others. Now you might ask, what do new moons mean in astrology? In general, the moon is said to govern your emotional self in astrology, heavily influencing your inner thoughts and how you feel. A new moon is the start of a new lunar cycle, and in astrology, new moons are fittingly associated with new beginnings. New moons, occurring alone, are often periods during which astrologers suggest manifesting and setting meaningful intentions of the thoughts, feelings, initiatives, and more that we want to usher into our lives over the weeks and months ahead. That doesn't necessarily mean going out and buying $1,000 worth of supplies for the brand new side hustle or plotting the ultimate revenge against your trash ex. Rather, it's better to use this time for introspective and planning. What good energy do you want to materialize? Now you might also ask, what do solar eclipses mean in astrology? Now, a solar eclipse occurs, of course, when the moon passes between the sun and the earth, briefly blocking the sun's light. In astrology, solar eclipses tend to carry a heightened sense of a new moon, which absolutely exciting but a little volatile. Think about it this way. An eclipse blocks the illumination of the sun, putting the earth in a shadow. If you apply that thought process to your emotions, you may not be seeing the full picture. That's why some of the new beginnings or new chapters a solar eclipse may introduce could come completely unexpectedly, which could be jarring and emotionally taxing for anyone. Knowing this, when a solar eclipse and a new moon occur together, it may actually be best to avoid major manifestation rituals or intention setting and instead prioritize some self care and reflection on what you feel toward the universe or what you feel the universe is pushing you toward at this time. Now, those four signs that will mostly be involved, the heaviest: Gemini. The December 4th solar eclipse and new moon may bring about a new chapter in your relationships. Occurring in your seventh house of relationships and partnerships, the December 2021 solar eclipse and new moon could be shaking up your relationships. This isn't a bad thing. Rather, you may feel a newfound urge to push ahead confidently in a relationship, finally understanding what you want and how you really feel. During this lunar event, think about what fulfills you the most out of your relationships and plan how you can best communicate that to your loved ones. Next one, next sign is Virgo. The December 4th solar eclipse and new moon might shift things around close to home, Virgo. Things may get a little personal for you after the solar eclipse and new moon. This lunar event occurs in your fourth house of home and family, and you may find yourself totally reevaluating your relationship with the home or with your family members. Because this is likely hitting you so deeply, take some time to think about comfort and safety. What makes you feel secure and loved, and how can you move forward in these areas in a way that prioritizes that stability? Next sign heavily influenced: Sagittarius. The December 4th solar eclipse and new moon are preparing you for a glow up, get ready, Sagittarius. That's glow up, not blow up. The solar eclipse and new moon are happening in your sign, meaning you're likely experiencing a significant shift related to your sense of self. This long Gemini Sagittarius eclipse cycle has pushed your identity to its limits in multiple ways, and during this lunar event, you may feel everything coming to a head as you ready yourself to shed the old emotions, thought patterns, and identified tenets that no longer align with the visions you have for yourself. Take this time to reflect on what your most authentic future self looks like. And the fourth one, mostly affected: Pisces. The December 4th solar eclipse and new moon could signal the start of something new career-wise for you. The end of 2021 wouldn't be any fun without a little professional action. Now would it, Pisces? The December 2021 solar eclipse and new moon are affecting your professional life and image, and you may find that whatever straight or narrow career path you found yourself headed down is flipped upside down now. Although it may seem a bit unnerving, this is all happening in your best interest. You're scooting much closer to the calling or field that brings you your most fulfillment, and you may even find that the perks are better along the way. So there you have it. I thought you might be interested in that. Okay, now this one is the closest one I could find to the next little bit of info I have that you all may or may not have heard. But this was the most I'd say probably Northern Nordic figurine, maybe not. It's at least kind of Germanic. But did you know you could trace the traditional hanging of mistletoe during the holidays to Norse mythology? It's true. It comes from the myth of where Loki killed Balder, who was the son of Odin and Frigga. And what he did was he told Hoder, who was a blind god, to shoot an arrow whose tip, unknowingly to Hoder, was laced with mistletoe. It was the only thing that could kill Balder. But not long after, Balder was brought back to life. Frigga, overjoyed, declared that the mistletoe be a symbol of love and peace instead of it being a symbol of evil, which is why we now traditionally kiss under the mistletoe. Okay, and this is the largest size nutcracker that I can probably fit on this screen. I'll go around and videotape once I have them all up and show you all at a later time. But here's another example of one. I didn't mark the bottom because I guess I started doing that afterwards and I forgot what year I'd gotten these. So I have a couple. It's a series of them, about 3 different types. And this is, I don't recall when I got them. This looks a little bit more like the traditional nutcracker, maybe like a painted on face. And I bring you this traditional looking one now because I don't know, take us back to tradition and everything because guess I'm just getting a little sentimental at this time of year. You know, it's the end of an era for all of us. It's the end of eclipse season. And eclipse season really rocks our world, whether we want it to or not. You know, this biennial encounter with the chaos and fate that we call eclipse season wants to show us where the road has ended for good. You know, classically, eclipses were said to take out kings and leaders to make way for new leadership and powers that be. But in our own lives, beliefs and habits that have reigned supreme suddenly lose their grip or their luster. Contemplate this final eclipse in the nodal axis of Gemini Sagittarius. Our beliefs, our carefully crafted identities, they're all up for grabs now. With the old powers fading out, who might fade in? But don't eclipses happen twice a year, you might be thinking? Well, folks, first of all, you'd be right if you were wondering that. You know, eclipse season happens roughly about every 6 months. Eclipses happen when the sun and the moon get within shouting distance of the lunar nodes, which are also known, by the way, as the nodes of fate. The lunar nodes represent a hot spot in the sky where the orbit of the moon around the Earth and the orbit of the Earth around the sun intersect. These lunar nodes suggest fated events, comings and goings of people, projects, ideas, and visions, which is why they're commonly referred to as the nodes of fate. Generally speaking, the North Node shows us where we're headed, like a figurative North Star. The South Node shows us what we're letting go of. Now, the nodes of fate have been in Gemini Sagittarius since April of 2020. The North Node in Gemini has encouraged us to reconsider our means of mental engagement with the world. A North Node in Gemini bestows ravenous curiosity, and we've all been feeling hungry for new ways of living, being, and relating. If nothing else, Gemini has questions, and those last 18 months have certainly had us in a flurry of intense and personal questioning. The South Node in Sagittarius has tried to help us beliefs and philosophies that no longer resonate with the present moment. If Gemini has questions, Sagittarius prides itself on having answers. But sometimes the answers are stale, and the best we can do is live with the questions. All this brings us to today's eclipse, a solar eclipse in Sagittarius. It's definitive because we won't have the North Node in Gemini and the South Node in Sagittarius again until 2039. So in a way, this is kind of what I would call a smoke 'em if you got 'em moment. It's right now or never. The proverbial last midnight. Think of this eclipse like a big old door to help you release whatever it has its claws in you, especially in terms of nasty thought patterns, self-destructive behaviors, and damaging groupthink. Solar eclipses take away the light of our sun. Now the sun represents our ego, our identity, our way of asserting ourselves in the world. When the light disappears, it can reappear as whatever it wants. Spend the next few days meditating on how you would like to liberate yourself from what you think others expect of you. You are not a prisoner of who you've been. Not if you don't want to be. Now, eclipses can be an emotionally and highly tense time because they show us something that's been lurking under the surface for what feels like forever. Where we thought everything was going so fine, suddenly the demon reveals itself. It can't hide anymore, or maybe more accurately, we can't turn a blind eye any longer. Essentially, we reach a breaking point. This is the true nature of change. It builds slowly until suddenly, one day, you're different. Eclipses wants us to face the music before the music ends. Try to pay attention to where in your life those final chords are being played. Now the eclipse, it eclipses us, literally, taking the light from our lives. Then, when the lights come back on, everything looks different. From there, we get to decide where to embrace the change or fight the inevitable. But the good news, and yes, there's always good news in astrology, you know that, is that this eclipse is in a really nice, helpful relationship with Saturn. This is a planet that knows how to get shit done and take things seriously. And when Saturn returns, a robust phenomena that each of us will experience will happen when Saturn returns to its natal position, if we're lucky to live that long. Then, come January, the nodes of fate will enter into Taurus Scorpio, and the themes our souls long to explore will change dramatically. It's a big tonal shift that will serve as the cosmic tenor for our year ahead. Thankfully, eclipse season ends, and the full moon in Gemini is the period at the end of that crazy sentence. Out with the old, in with the new. It's like New Year's is coming, and it's coming now. We'll celebrate it later, but the change is happening now. So you look forward to that. Well, this is another Santa I have. Um, Kind of a more of a rustic style. This one I got back in 2016. It's in small handwriting there underneath the four. It's hard to read. It's blurry. Take my word for it. It says 2016. That's the year I got that one. About 6 years ago, 6 years ago. And I'm going to show you this one last one as I'm heading out. I believe that's supposed to be a Roman soldier's uniform, some sort of ancient uniform. But anyway, yeah, these are just a few examples of my nutcrackers. So I'll be putting out a video. I don't know when I'll get this stuff done. Hopefully, I'll be able to get some sleep tonight and get up with a clearer head to do a reading for tomorrow. Until then, think about the change, man. The change is coming. Peace, believe, bye bye.